Alright guys, so I played and beat Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Wrath of the Mutants. I actually bought this game physically. It was pretty hard to track down, to be perfectly honest with you. I had it pre-ordered at Walmart, and then release day came, and I got an email from them saying it was going to be delayed, and that they didn't know when it was going to come. So at any rate, I was actually able to pick it up from Target, and again, I don't know why this game was delayed. It's not like a highly anticipated Ninja Turtles game, obviously. So if you're not familiar, this is a port of the 2017 arcade game. And if you're not familiar with the arcade game, I can't blame you. I saw it in person at my godson's birthday party, and it wasn't in good shape. One of the joysticks was completely ripped out. I saw, a bunch of kids around it, which was cool, because I'm like, that brings back memories of playing the Ninja Turtles arcade game with like my brothers and cousin at Peter Piper Pizza growing up. But those memories are completely separate from obviously this arcade game, and even Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time, great arcade game, great video game, great Super Nintendo game, love it. I saw this arcade game at obviously my godson's birthday, and I was with my girl. She's like, do you want to play it? I'm like, no. I didn't want to play it. I just didn't. It didn't look fun, right? It just, from a distance, it looked kind of lame. And honestly, like I mentioned before, the arcade game was really beat up. Like, these kids were beating the shit out of the arcade machine. Like, they were literally using their fist to, like, punch the buttons. And I'm like, I don't want to get anywhere near there, man. It just didn't... I had zero intention of trying to play that game. So fast forward, I think maybe 2 months later, there was the announcement of that game that I just saw at the arcade for the first time, that game was going to be coming to consoles. And of course, like I said, I saw it in the arcade and I didn't want to play it. Now, maybe if it was in good shape and there wasn't a bunch of kids beating the shit out of the arcade machine right in front of me, maybe I would have wanted to play it. So I get home, I unpackage the game, put it in my PS5. It's got a day one patch to update it. I'm like, all right, cool. Let it do its thing. And then I jump into playing Turtles, right? And it was interesting from the get-go, okay? And I'm not trying to be judgy here, okay? But guys, when a video game starts up, sometimes you might get some negative vibes, right? And I did with this. And the reason I say that is because just getting to the title screen, it looked like from the time the game started to the title screen, it was almost like a PowerPoint presentation. Like, oh, here's a splash screen right here. And here's a splash screen with a couple PNGs, right? And then here's the title screen. And the title screen was completely bare bones. I went to the control section. I like to go to the options and just look at the controls and just kind of see everything that's there before I start the game, because we don't have instruction booklets, obviously, anymore. And so going to the options menu, I guess, is the next best thing, just to see what's there, see what the extras are. And there's no difficulty selection. You actually have to unlock that in the game, which I thought was weird. So going through the main mode, which is actually the only mode in the game, but going through that, it starts on easy, and then you unlock normal. If you beat on normal, then you unlock hard. I was like, all right, that's interesting. Because usually you can select your difficulty. Like, is this how they're trying to get you to play the game a few more times, so it feels like you got your money's worth, or what? Like, it's kind of weird. And so then I look at the controls in the options menu, and it's jump, attack, and move. Like, to move your character. That's it. And so obviously, guys, I've played all the Turtles games. I've played all the beat 'em ups. Turtles. I have Final Fight, the arcade game, in my house. I have the Turtles arcade game, Streets of Rage. Can't forget all the Double Dragon games. I enjoy the beat 'em up genre. I know what it is. I know what to expect from it, right? The beat 'em up genre is probably not going to earn any awards, right? But I've also seen the peak of that genre. Streets of Rage 4, for instance. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. That's peak beat 'em up right there. what was that other game? That game with the cartoon character kid. Was it Scott something? Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim. That is a great game, right? I know what the peak beat 'em up games are, and I didn't go into Wrath of the Mutants expecting anything like that, okay? I think my expectations were properly set. So then I start up the game, select my turtle, and then I see the stage selection, right? So there's 5 stages plus Shredder. And, you know, obviously I seen that. I'm like, okay, so this game's 5 levels and a Shredder level. I wonder how long this is going to take me to beat. I don't say a game is good or bad based on how long it is. I understand that beat 'em ups are going to be shorter games. They always have been. But this looked like really short. You know, shorter than usual. And so I play the game, and I end up beating the game in an hour and 15 minutes, right? I'm pretty sure the original Turtles movie is longer than it took me to beat the game. Obviously, this isn't a full-price game. It's not $59.99 or $69. It's $29.99. It's a Game Mill game. It's made by Raw Thrills. Raw Thrills, of course, is really one of the only companies that make arcade games now. I think Raw Thrills probably has made a couple of good games. Cruisin' Blast, that's a pretty cool game. I have it on my Switch. But overall, there's not a lot of good stuff coming out of Game Mill. They're sort of like the modern day LJN from the Nintendo era. And so I played through the game, play all the levels. Everything just felt very average. Wasn't very exciting. Graphically, the game's not impressive. So if you're looking for graphics, it doesn't look good. It kind of looks like a PS2, PS3 era game. And again, guys, graphics for me aren't super important. It doesn't need to look great. But I did want to mention it, though, because I know people want to know how are the graphics, how does it look. I will say the game runs smooth. It's 60 frames per second, so that's great. But I guess the question is the game fun? And it's really not. It sort of felt like a chore to play this game. And if you guys watched my last review, which was Princess Peach Showtime, I actually said something similar. And I want you guys to know that I'm not like burnt out or anything on playing video games. I just so happened to be reviewing 2 games in a row that just weren't great. That's all. Wrath of the Mutants, to me, is one of the worst Turtles games, okay? And, you know, I'd have to go back and probably do a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle tier list to kind of take stock of everything. And I know we have a couple more Turtles games coming out soon. Like, I have Mutants Unleashed pre-ordered at Walmart. Don't know how that game's going to be. I guess we'll see. I don't have like super high expectations for it. I am more looking forward to the Turtles Rise of the Ronin game. I think that is very interesting. If a sequel to Shredder's Revenge comes out, that is something I would immediately be excited for, because that is the perfect example of Ninja Turtles done right. Like that's as good as it gets right now. And it's damn good. And the developer, Tribute Games, did an awesome job. And they did an excellent job on the Dimensional Shell Shock DLC. So, big fan of what they did over there at Tribute Games. This is nothing like that, man. It's nothing like it. There's no comparison. Now, you might be wondering, did I like anything about the game? And I'll try to give you guys some positive here. First off, it's Turtles. I'm a Turtles fan. If you're watching this, you're probably a Turtles fan. It's cool that the game is no longer exclusive to the arcade. It's not a terrible game. It just feels dated by modern day standards. And it's a bare bones port of a kind of bare bones arcade game. There's no unlockables in the game, no bonus content. It just is what it is. It says they added 2 levels to the game, but it doesn't feel like they added anything. If I didn't know prior to picking up the game that 2 levels were added, I would have never known, right? I would just think this is the straight arcade port. If you are wondering, there is no online co-op. For trophy hunters, if you enjoy getting trophies on PlayStation or Xbox achievements, you better have 3 friends who can come over to play, because there's a trophy that requires completing a level on 4-player co-op. So that kind of sucked. Another thing that was annoying is the first playthrough forces you to beat the game on easy mode. I'd rather not play it on easy mode. I'd honestly rather just go right to normal mode. But again, if you're a trophy hunter, you have to beat the game on easy for a trophy, beat it on normal, and then beat it on hard for a trophy. Another thing that really sucked, okay, this part really sucked about the game, is the music. The soundtrack is awful. It's the same background music. It feels like elevator music. It's on loop the entire game. Even when there's a boss fight, it doesn't change the music. It's not like boss fight music, right? Shredder, music doesn't change. Like, literally, it just sounds like generic background music the whole game. So I was like, what? Obviously, guys, if you play the Turtle games, you know that a lot of them have great soundtracks. Like, all the way from the original NES Turtles, the first one, Turtles 2, the arcade game, Turtles 3, Manhattan Project, Turtles in Time, all throughout a majority of the Turtle history. I know there's been some games that haven't been very good, but I've never experienced a soundtrack quite like this. Literally one theme on loop the entire game, and it's not even a good song. So I was like, man, this is bad. Like, this is a really low budget. They didn't do anything with the music. And obviously with Shredder's Revenge, we had T. Lopes as the composer. So that was awesome. We were treated to a great soundtrack. And then you get this. It's like, man, the Turtles deserves better, in my opinion. I feel like I'm being generous even saying it was average. Like, it kind of sucked, right? It just kind of sucks. It's not good. It's not a good game. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone unless they are a diehard Turtles fan and they want to own every Turtles game physically or something, like me. Like, I enjoy owning the Turtles games physically, and I know there's some real turds out there, and this is definitely one of them in the Turtles history. Like, this is not a Turtles game. This is a turd game. Like, it's a turd. Like, straight up, is what it is. I still love the Turtles. It's just a turd game, man. And to sum it up, guys, in all honesty, I think this should be a $10 game. There's nothing to do outside of beating the game, nothing to unlock. For PlayStation and Xbox owners, you have the trophies and achievements, if that's something you're into doing. And I did get a lot of the trophies, right? I beat it on easy, normal, and hard. One thing I'll mention too, which was, again, it's just like so lazy, dude, is from easy to normal to hard, the enemies don't change. They still have the same health bar. Your attacks still do the same amount of damage. The only thing that changes is how many lives you start the game with. That's it. That's the difficulty changes. That's it. That's all that changes when you select easy, normal, or hard difficulty. You start with less lives. Nothing else changes. I thought that was bullshit. It just felt really cheap and lazy. So if you're not into trophies, there's literally nothing to do outside of completing the game. The different difficulty levels is a complete joke. And again, I went right through the game. I beat it easy, normal, hard, no problem. No characters to unlock. Nothing. And I know nothing else is coming because it's game mill. You know, like, it's not like we're going to get DLC for this game. We're not going to get free DLC. We're not going to get paid DLC. It just is what it is. This game just exists in the world, right? And it's what I thought it was probably going to be. But to be honest, I didn't think it was going to be this bad. I really didn't. I thought maybe the game would be a little bit longer with a little bit more variety. But everything about this feels like it's a $10 game, right? It's over very quickly. And honestly, I don't want to offend other $10 games out there. But I just mean it feels like a $10 game because it's not great. It has the Turtles license, so I understand that, yeah, you know, it might cost more. But as far as how the game actually plays from beginning to end, all the options, the features, the gameplay, the sound, all of that, it's just not good. It's a turd. It's a total turd, man. And I wish it was not. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's probably not what you want to hear, but it is what it is. And hopefully by watching this review, I'll save you guys some money, okay? So thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys have an awesome day.